and welcome back to Rishi's World. So today I am going to film my April wrap-up video of all the books that I read in April, which is actually my best reading month of the year so far. I just seem to devour the books, and I know compared to most sort of booktubers and bookstagrammers and things like that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is not much. But to me, that was probably the most books I've ever read in a month in my whole entire life. So let's get started. This Rubbernecker by Belinda Bauer, I'd actually read Snap by her earlier on this year, I think, maybe January, and I absolutely loved it. So I bought a used copy off Amazon. Love the smell of a used book. And it was okay, but it was definitely no Snap. So basically the main character has Asperger's syndrome, and his mum's always been worried about him because of his fascination with like dead animals and dead people and things like that, since he lost his dad when he was young. And he goes to like a medical uni to do like forensics, where they're kind of like doing like medical autopsies on dead bodies basically. And he sort of like finds these clues on this body, and he suspects that it might be a murder and not what they are being told the cause of death was. And he's basically like investigating it, and it sounds really interesting, but it fell a little bit flat for me, and I would give it 3 stars at best. And then I did a Kindle book next. It was a book called Girl Crush, which was LGBT. So this girl was having to switch high schools with her mum because they had to move into a different area. And she knew nobody at the new school, but she was, through a friend, given contact details of someone who went to that school. And she looked at the picture and thought, oh my god, that guy's so hot, blah, 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 blah. Messaged him. They were like chatting for a few weeks before school started, and then they met at the school. And things were going well, and then she discovered that he was actually a she. So not transgender or anything like that, but like just having like a butch kind of appearance. So she hadn't realised that he was a girl. So that made her like question her feelings, because she'd fancied him when she thought he was a boy, and then found out that he was actually a girl. And so yeah, that's what the story is about basically. I would probably give that one 3.5 stars. It was 3.5 to 4, maybe 3.5. So it was a YA and easy reading, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. I would like to get stickers, instead of having like an openy foldy one, like a clear case, you know, and then put my stickers on. But I don't want them to be random stickers, and I don't want to change them all the time. I want to find some that literally speak to me, like they've got to be the right stickers, and I've not found any yet, so we're stuck with this one. Then the next book that I read, that's all I can say about this really. The Theory of Not Quite Everything by Cara, I'm going to say Cara Nod, but it could be Gnoddy, but I think it's going to be Cara Nod. The colours intrigued me with this book. Like, I saw it on a shelf and I thought, I have to have this book. Like, you don't understand. My childhood bedroom, when I lived at home with my parents, I had one wall this colour, one wall this colour, one wall this colour, and one wall purple or lilac-y colour. And it's just like the inside of my brain, it just loves bright block colour like this, and I just fell in love with the cover. And then I opened it up to read what it was about, and it is literally the main character's brother is a mathematical genius. It talks about algorithms and Venn diagrams. And it was kind of like about like using a mathematical plan to find a boyfriend for Mimi. And it sounded really good because all of the title headers were things like maths, like single digit or reformulate, you know, like, or vibrations, or anything that was like vector, anything. They all had like mathematical simultaneous equations, all sort of like mathematical chapter headings. And I used to love maths. So I was actually doing a maths degree with the Open University until COVID hit. So I was over halfway through, and then COVID hit, and I just never went back to it. It made me realise that I wanted my spare time to be spent with friends and family and doing things that I love, as opposed to sat at a desk studying, basically. So anyway, I thought this would be a bit of me, and it wasn't. It fell flat. I'd say this was like a 2 stars for me. It just bored me. It didn't have anything to it, to be honest. I didn't feel like the brother, he didn't feel real to me. Like, he didn't come off the page. It felt quite unrealistic. Not in that like things were totally out there. It's just like he had nothing about him, and yeah, the characters just didn't come to life for me. The story didn't come to life. It was a bit dull. I'm sorry. Beautiful cover, but don't judge a book by its cover. Okay, and then, oh, my coffee's going to go cold. The next book that I read was Belladonna by Adeline Grace. Now, come on, we've all seen this everywhere. I saw it all over BookTube and Instagram and everywhere. So I just thought, you know what? I saw Powerless everywhere. I read it. I absolutely loved it. Fourth Wing I saw everywhere. I read it. I loved it. Let's try Belladonna, and it did not disappoint. It was, I think, my only 5-star read. Yeah, my only 5-star read for the month of April. So, for those who don't know, it's about a girl who was orphaned, and then she goes to stay in this like mansion-y type place, and she can see ghosts. Also, what was really interesting is that like death is a tangible character in this book. So she can have like conversations with death. She can see a form that that is death. Spencer, come here. He's a tinker. Spencer, come here. Come on. And then yeah, one of my favourite books ever was The Book Thief, by, what was his name? Was it Marcus Cusack or something like that? And I quite like the fact that that was told with Death as a narrator, like it was narrated by Death. But having Death as a tangible character, that it didn't feel too out there. Like, see, whereas the characters in that previous book, they were real people and they didn't come to life on the page, Death came to life. In a way, which is the weird thing to say. But yeah, I really loved it, and I can't wait to read the sequel, which is Foxglove. I'm not sure if it's a duology or a trilogy, but either way, I'm excited to get onto it. And I actually picked it out in my May TBR prompt jar picks my videos video. I kept picking other books over it, even though it was perfect for every prompt, and I don't know why. And I haven't gotten to it yet for May, but I will do. And then, hang on, let me sort my dog out. I do apologise about that. Spencer here is being a little tinker today. He's not normally much of a barker, but he can hear lots of stuff going on because the master bedroom window's open, and he can hear loads of stuff happening outside. Anyway, let's carry on. So it was a tough act to follow anyway after Belladonna, because I enjoyed it, but this didn't do it for me. This didn't do it for me. So I didn't realise actually that it was by the same author as Heartstopper, although I think Heartstopper was graphic, wasn't it? Graphic novel. But yeah, the same characters were in it, and I'd seen the TV show for that, and so that was nice. I thought that was going to make me like it even more, because Tori was the dude's sister. I can't see, that's how bad it is. I can't remember. Oh yeah, I think like some things would happen. This solitaire, like some secret group that were like punishing people or doing pranks in the school, and it sounded like it could be really interesting, but again, this was a bit too high school for me. So I would give that, again, the strongest number I could give it would be a 3-star. But you know, next, we all know how much I love Powerless. So I was so excited for this novella. And I didn't expect to love it as much as I did, actually, because it wasn't Powerless and it wasn't the sequel. I didn't think I would love it as much as I did, and I did. I wish it had been a full-size book. Like, I mean, I know it's, I mean, technically it is, because it was like, it was like 245 pages, so it was like a very small, normal size book, but it was really interesting to read what was happening with the side character, like Payden's friend Adina, during the time that she was at the castle, sort of going through the trials and things. But yeah, like, I mean, obviously, if you've read Powerless, you already know how this book is going to end. But it still gets you in the feels. And it was really interesting to see another side of the story that we've already read about. Just helped with the wait until July, when we can read the next instalment. And also rating wise, I think I gave this a 4 or 4.5. I felt like I couldn't give it an actual 5 because it was so short. But if it had have been a full-sized novel, I think it would have probably took me there. And this was from The Works. Like, The Works don't normally have printed edges. Now, I mean, I know that it's not like as intricate as the ones a lot of people buy, especially for a painted edge. But it's pretty cool, isn't it? Like, for it to just be in The Works, like cheapo bookshop. So yeah. Okay, so the next book that I read was Happy Place by Emily Henry, and I got it from Asda, and it was one of the Tickle Pink where money from the sale goes towards the breast cancer charity. So I got pink sprayed edges. I had seen it all over, everything, BookTube, Instagram, everywhere. Everybody is always talking about Emily Henry, and so I thought, well, let's give it a go, and it's just not me. I mean, it was an okay book, probably a 3 stars for me. I get if you like this kind of book, then, you know, you'd rate it and it would be up there, but it's just not for me. I liked how it goes forward and back in time, you know, so you're seeing different, like, how things ended up the way they were and things like that. But back in my day, we called these chick lit, which is like just, it was like books about relationships, primarily written for females to read. I know that's very stereotypical and sexist, which is probably why people just call it romance now. So you can tell we're having a bit of sunshine. Everybody's got the windows open. Everybody's outside chatting, and he's not used to it because it's been winter for so long. But he had better get used to it bloody quick because it is annoying me. Right, anyway. Yeah, it just wasn't for me. I think I don't mind romance in like an adventure-y, action-y, fantasy, like romantasy, things like that, where there's a lot going on, there's action, there's adventure, there's twists, there's turns, and then there's some romance included in it. Or even if it was like a raunchy romance and like a bit of spice, I don't mind that, just to mix it up. But when it's just like relationships and feelings and I can read it and it's easy reading, but I never really feel much when I'm reading them. I don't mind watching these as movies. This in a movie will probably be something I would watch, but not in a book as something I would read. Anyway, I'm just going to go strangle my dog and then we'll get on to the last book that I read in April. Okay, so the last book that I read in April was Taken by Lisa Stone. Now, this was led to me by someone in my book club, and they said that they would devoured it. They, were coming home, and the first thing they wanted to do when they got home was read this book and finish it and keep reading to see what was next. And it was easy reading, fast paced, lots of twists and turns. There was a lot of twists and turns, obviously, that came as a surprise to me. But there was also the main twist I guessed on page 17. So that didn't bode well for it. If I hadn't guessed that, I think I would have loved it. But because I already had that in the back of my mind from page 17 onwards, that I think I, knew what was happening, it took it away from me a little bit. So I'd probably give it a 4. If I hadn't guessed. I think it would have been a 4 if I had not guessed the twist on page 17. So it has the potential to be up there. However, I'd probably call it a 3 just because I did guess, and that took away from it for me a little bit. But yeah, they are all of the books that I read in April. And then for the first time ever, I did a TBR prompt jar to pick my May reads. So that's the product of mood reading. Let's see what the product is of having a actual TBR where I've actually got a list of books that I need to try and get through. Especially when I've got a lot of things to do in May that may take up evenings and days off. That means I might not get to read as much as I would like. And I've picked a very ambitious 10 books out, which is more than I've ever read in a month. But we'll see. It's nice to have a target.